Rado walks with a girl into a futuristic room of glass mirrors. She holds him from the back, revealing that behind the glass, he can choose any of the girls in the room to mate with them. In this world, this is reality, because when Rado woke up from cryogenic hibernation, the world was not the same. All the men died out in a global virus, and he was one of the only survivors because of a genetic mutation. But when he secretly learns more about the virus, Rado realizes that all of this was a pre-planned way to destroy the world. Before being cryogenically frozen, Rado confessed his love to Erisa, his childhood friend. But Erisa straight up rejected his confession, telling him that she's known all along but that he's late. Even though he knew he would be rejected, Rado wanted to still try because this is his last year seeing her. Startled, she asks him why he's saying it's his last year, so Rado reveals that he's contracted a lethal disease called cellular sclerosis. Even after researching the disease, Erisa realizes that there's no cure, and it would take more than 5 years for one to be developed. Erisa apologizes, saying that she will not wait 5 years just for him, bursting into tears as she left him. During their car ride, Rado stares outside the window, looking into their society that's automated by AI. It's a world where humans don't even work anymore unless it adds meaning to their life, and he's sick of it. Inside the hospital, his sister cries, telling him to work hard and come back better. Just before he heads off into his hibernation, Erisa is heard screaming for the nurse to let her in. After Rado's brother allows her to come inside, Erisa finally gets some alone time with Rado. She had come here to see him one last time before he went to hibernation, and this makes Rado happy. He takes off his necklace, handing it to her and asks her to keep it for him until he wakes up. This pendant became a living memory of Rado for Erisa, so she smiles and holds back her tears. As Rado enters the capsule, he realizes that 5 years will pass and they will grow up by the time he sees them next. Erisa screams his name, telling him that she'll be waiting for him, that she'll wait for him as long as it takes. Rado reaches his arm towards her, thinking she really is cute before falling asleep for the next 5 years. A second later, Rado wakes up, seeing a girl that looks like Erisa, but knows it's not her. The mysterious girl greets him, and a bunch of nurses stare towards him in awe. Rado wonders what year it is, and she tells him it's the year 2045 and that 5 years have passed. They begin by examining his health, and the doctor is ready to explode when she sees him. In the time that he was hibernating, the doctor had injected Rado's fluid inside of her. Sorry, I meant they developed the cure and injected it inside of him. Rado wonders how to express his gratitude to his previous physician, but the doctor tells Rado that his previous physician is no longer with them. Confused, Rado asks her if he moved, but the female doctor is unable to answer any of his questions. Rado goes on to ask if he could finally see his family, but Mrs. Giant Cannonballs comes in, telling him that she will explain everything. Inside a black limousine, Rado wonders why all the windows are fully tinted. The mysterious woman finally introduces herself, telling him that she's his dedicated attendant, Sue Mira. Mira warns him that she will be his only method of contacting the outside world, and Rado is confused why she's doing this, but she goes on to finally explain it to him. 4 years ago, the MK virus spread across the world and killed infected patients within 3 days. The virus traveled by air and caused a global pandemic within a very short span of time, annihilating nearly 50% of the human population. No cure has been developed by now, and Mira says that even the world's most advanced AI are still working on the cure without any progress. The windows to the outside finally open, and all Rado can see are refugees. Rado's mind is shocked and thinks it's impossible. Without second thought, he opens the door and begins running out.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Rado wonders what happened and why the city looks different. When he reaches a woman and asks her for help, she reacts by screaming and running away.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
All of the women begin surrounding him, and Rado wonders if he did something weird, running away from this strange situation. After all, he realizes that he hasn't seen a single man since he's woke up. Mira comes up to him, and he asks her where all the men went. Mira explains that the MK virus, the man-killer virus, is a virus that is only fatal to men, and the very dwindling number of men all remain in cold sleep. The rest are all dead. But this makes no sense to Rado, and he wonders why he's the only one left alive. Mira says that there's only 4 other men in this world that are capable of plot development. Being the one of the only men left in the world, he's become the most valuable earthly resource. But a woman rushes forward to touch him before getting tased on the spot. Mira points towards the women, telling him that the 100 women here would accept him if he asked them. She gets on her knees. asking him to save humanity and to mate with the women of this world.
Sensational.
Inside the lab, Rado learns that women are the only ones running the world. The United Women Organization, what a f***ing name, now leads the world. Rado discovers that the only hope of the world happened to be in Japan, where a man was found alive in cold sleep. That man was named Number 1, and he was capable of plot development. Afterward, they found a few other men and began to slowly remove them from cold sleep one by one. Even after learning all of this, Rado still doesn't believe anything Mira is telling him, but she tells him that this is their reality. To the rest of the world, Rado's existence is a secret, and Mira instructs him to avoid selfish accidents like yesterday's that cause unnecessary chaos. She bends over, telling him that she needs him and the other men to have as many children as possible or mankind will go extinct. Rado still wonders if this is a prank, but Mira asks him what she would gain from pranking him. Rado wishes to go home, but Mira instead hands him a screen, asking him to choose between one of the two women for plot development. His sister runs into the room, hugging him after finally seeing him for the first time in 5 years. They go downstairs, looking over his brother's body who is also in cold sleep. As they walk, Rado asks his sister, Maharu, where Arisa is. Maharu hasn't known where Arisa's been for 3 years since she's gone missing. Rado is confused why she disappeared if the virus only affects men, and Mira goes on to say that the world and Japan have been unstable, so she may have been involved in something unfortunate. Rado takes out his phone and tries calling her, begging for her to answer but gets nothing from the other end. Later on, Mira informs her supervisors of the progress with Rado, telling them that Number 2 is highly intelligent. The supervisor asks her about the mating, but Mira apologizes that he hasn't been able to progress the story because he's not feeling it. The supervisor yells at Mira, telling her that she should remember her job and why she is allowed to be here. At night, Rado lays in bed and misses Arisa in this cold, ugly world. As he worries the worst might have happened to Arisa, Ms. Enormous Volcanoes comes in and is ready to erupt his volcano. Rado asks her what she's doing at this time, and she begins developing plot. I mean a lot of plot. I mean way too much plot. Mira says that she's here to make him feel better and gets on top of him, slowly moving forward and kissing him. She asks him for his protein shake, and as our man is finally ready to start whipping her cream, he remembers Arisa. Mira asks him if he doesn't like her, but Rado tells her that it's not like that. With the world being in this tragic state and everyone dying, his consciousness won't allow him to be the only one enjoying his time. Mira leaves and apologizes on her way out. A girl comes up to Mira, mocking her huge failure. She apologizes to Mira for having to deal with such a wimp, and asks her if she would like for her boy Hino to develop plot with her. Mira rejects her offer because she's in charge of Rado. The girl is shocked by her resolve and wishes her luck. Rado wonders why this is happening to him and wishes he could contact Arisa. He remembers the necklace he gave her and sees that he still has hope as he stares at his phone's screen. The next day, Mira takes him to the room, telling him that all the women beyond this glass want to develop plot with him out of their own will. He just needs to get a baby. After all, there are only 5 men in this world and 5 billion women. And if none of these girls are his type, Mira will find ones that are his type, whether it's 100 or 1,000 or 100,000. Yet even with all of this temptation, Rado refuses and he tells her he's not a horse. Mira knows how weird this is, so she apologizes but says that his plot is what will save them. With the world's population gradually declining, food is rationed among poor women. But if they can have his baby, they will be protected and given a good life. This is no longer just an issue of plot development, and Mira tells him that the other men in cold sleep will die soon because they are still uncured. She begs him, because if he continues abstaining, humanity will be destroyed. But Rado doesn't give in to her pleas, and tells her to give him just 1 month to find someone, because if Rado is going to have a kid, he wants it to be with the woman he's always loved. Mira accepts his conditions, but adds another one on top. From now until then, Rado will sleep next to a girl every night to create a chance for plot development. She tells him that if he's that intentful on staying loyal, their seductions would fail. But it would be better for them if he succumbed to temptation. The next day, the other man in this world is getting massaged by 2 girls while watching a movie. The girls ask him if he's enjoying the movie, but the man is only watching it for the actress because he finds her beautiful. His attendant comes up to him for the daily girl he's going to complete character development with. But none of those girls interest him, so she looks at the screen and gets a great idea. In his room, the actress from the movie comes in and thanks him for having her. She even wore the clothes from the movie here, and he thinks she looks even better than the movie and feels lucky to be alive in this world. Plot develops. I mean, a lot of plot develops. I mean, how is this just an anime plot development? Meanwhile, Rado enjoys the food cooked by all the chefs who think he's cute while eating. Mira is glad to know he likes it, because she brought chefs from all across the world to prepare him the best meals. As they continue talking, Mira is served another plate and Rado wonders how she's able to eat so much. He thinks she's very thin in all the right areas. His sister gets jealous and yells at him before leaving. Rado apologizes for the way his sister is asking, but Mira is only concerned with the food and says it would be a waste not to eat it. Rado stares at her, thinking that she can't be a bad person after all. During his walk on campus, he remembers Mira telling him he will have a bodyguard and a nurse to make sure that he's healthy. And of course, they will be the women sleeping with him every night as promised. While walking to his room, Hino comes up to him and introduces himself as number 1. Hino knows that Rado hasn't wielded his Excalibur yet, but this is paradise, and once he slashes women with his giant Excalibur, he will be able to release his protein shake from the greatest overpowered weapon in this world.
These nuts? Got him!
Rado tells him that he hates protein shakes, but Hino says that this world is a mess, so he should just enjoy it while he can. He walks away, telling him he's gonna be busy developing plot. In the shower, he thinks about his words, but remembers Arisa and misses her. The lights turn off, and while Rado is blind, he walks around and accidentally grabs Plot. The lights turn back on and he sees a girl standing there. The girl hugs him, but Rado is too flustered and tells her to let him go. The mysterious girl's name is Akane, and she opens a bottle, saying that there's nothing better than drinking in the shower, and kisses him. She begins to develop Plot.
Yes! 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 Yes!
And he falls over, but then she realizes he's passed out.
No! No! No!
He wakes up and sees her sleeping on his couch. A girl wakes up next to him.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And he asks her what she's doing here. Rado wonders if she's one of Mira's girls, and she tells him that she is and that her name is Sowi. Akane wakes up and comes into his bed but comforts him by saying she's not doing anything tonight. Rado sleeps next to both of them, but strengthens his resolve to beat Mira's challenge in staying loyal. This is going to be harder than November challenge. The next day, he hasn't slept one bit, and Mira walks him around the facility. A woman following behind them enters a code. Mira asks him why he's positive that Arisa is still alive, and he shows her his phone, telling her that he had given Arisa a necklace that has a transmitter in it. This device allows Rado to get an exact location of Arisa if she's in Japan, but his weak signal indicates that she's likely somewhere else. Akane hugs him, telling him to relax. Rado asks her how she can be a bodyguard when she's drunk, but this confuses her. An alarm goes off to interrupt them, and a bear comes out from the facility. He runs towards Sowi, and as the bear slashes, Rado jumps in to move her out of the strike. She sees he's bleeding, but Akane tells her to do her job, and Sowi gets up. Her abilities activate and she jumps and instantly knocks the bear out. After completing her objective, her eyes fade back to normal, and Akane tells him that she's his bodyguard. That would indicate that Akane is his nurse, and she rips her plot armor and covers him. Mira commands the rest of the workers to make sure security is dealt with appropriately. After that encounter, Rado heads with Mira into Arisa's lab, and she tells him that someone broke in and stole all her research data. Arisa would spend hours and days researching the MK virus along with AI as hard as she could. On her desk, Rado notices a photo of her dog, remembering that Jiro had a rare disease and no hospital could cure him. It was on that day that Arisa became determined to become a doctor and find a way to cure him, because if no one else will do it, then she will. Rado becomes inspired by her courage and decides to become a doctor as well. This contradicts what Arisa thought since Rado didn't want to work at first, but he tells her that they would be more likely to find a cure for the dog if they worked together. Rado remembers Arisa's smile and asks Mira if it's selfish that he won't develop plot if there's someone he loves. Mira, however, does not respond. Rado goes on to say that the most babies he can make in a year is around 100. But if they can find a cure for the rest of the sleeping men first, the world may return to normal. He tells her that he's made his decision, and that he will find a cure for the MK virus. In the meantime, Maharu plays with the little girls at an orphanage, giving them books to read. The TV turns on, and the news anchor tells the people that there is a single man found to be alive in the world. Maharu begins running, wondering what he's doing. Rado informs the world that he woke up from cold sleep and that he doesn't know why. This is the only hope for the world, because if he's alive, it means there's a chance other men in cold sleep can also be cured. Rado announces to everyone that he will find a cure for the MK virus and asks for their help. Maharu comes in to tell him that he's attracted the whole world's attention. She tells him he needs to relax, but he tells her that this is nothing. Maharu kisses him on the cheek and finds the toy Erisa used to have. She opens it from the back, and he sees a smart ring in there. This mysterious ring captivates Rado's curiosity, and he goes to the bathroom to activate the smart ring. A screen appears before his eyes, calling out his name, and hears Erisa hoping it's him who's hearing this. During her time in the lab, Erisa has been researching the MK virus, but happened to find that the virus isn't natural, but that it's actually man-made. It was then that Rado realized everyone in this world could be lying to him, and Erisa tells him that she misses him. Mira is eating again, hiding the food behind her back. She asks him if his research is going well, and tells him that if there's anything else he would need for his research, he can tell her. Rado decides to take a break and go on a walk with her. During their walk, Rado tells her that she's kind of like his childhood friend, but she's much more mature. Mira gives him hope by telling him there are people looking for Erisa, but he thanks and says that he's going to prioritize making a cure for now. Mira bends over, telling him she's sorry for putting him in danger when the bear got out. She apologizes to him over and over, but Rado attempts to make her feel better because he's fine after all. What he's more worried about is how she feels about being stuck with him, but Erisa says that he's a very kind man. Shower plot develops. Rado wonders who could have made the virus. Far away, a council meets, wondering who this limp plot thinks he is. They wonder what headquarters will do once they see this guy facing the world. They say that they won't declare war, because that would make the entire world go against them, as Rado is the only hope for humanity right now. The other leader asks to show the footage of the other number, and they see him developing plot with 3 girls at once and say that he's successfully developed plot with 100 women by now. However, number 2 is a complete failure, and think that Mira has been a colossal waste of time. They realize there's still 3 other numbers, and it is time to unfreeze number 3. Tino develops plot with the girls, and they begin telling him to hurry up. He shakes his Excalibur hard enough to release his Protion shake on all of them. 5 years ago, a boy called Doji was getting bullied inside the bathroom. The guys tell him to develop plot already to the idol, and call him a creep. They continue bullying him, and the guy kicks him down, calling him a loser. The bullies then begin to liquidate on him. Doji walks around in school, and he thinks everyone is a useless bystander. The girl sees him, and thinks that he's a poor guy, but couldn't care less. As he walks around, Doji sees a guy who looks at him but just ignores him. He remembers this guy telling him about the idol band, and how they became friends after that day. One day, Doji saw his friend getting bullied and tried to get him out of that situation. But this only angered the bullies and caused them to pick on Doji instead. Every time his friend saw the things Doji was going through, he decided to just ignore him, and Doji felt like an idiot. In his free time, he plays piano, and his teacher calls him by his real name, Doi, and asks him if there's anything wrong. Doi wonders if she knows what they call him, Doji-ai, which stands for a slow old man because of his white hair. His teacher apologizes and doesn't know how to comfort him. She tells him there's things she understands, that he's not slow and stupid, but he's actually strong. His heart starts aching, and he tells her that his body has been aching recently. The teacher puts her on him to inspect his body temperature, and she tells him he has a fever. 2 girls come into the room, and Doi takes this chance to leave. However, his teacher tells him to go to a hospital while he can. At the hospital, the doctor calls him, telling him he has cellular sclerosis and that he will die soon. At school, the teacher tells everyone that he's going to the hospital soon, and he remembers the doctor telling him that he'll be going into cold sleep. But as he tells everyone his sad story, he sees that not a single person cares about anything happening to him, and they all begin leaving class. The teacher apologizes to him, but he tells her to just forget it, thanking her and walking away. After school, he walks around, hearing a girl making plot noises. The noises are coming from an intense battle scene between his bully and his girlfriend. When the guy sees that he's been spying on them, he punches him, and the girl says that's all the action he's ever going to get.
You're a victim.
Doji's internal anger grows, and he thinks that people like them should die instead of him. On his last day, he thinks that he'll never have to see them again, so maybe this isn't so bad. He wonders why him. Why was he the one who had to deal with it? As he sleeps off, he wishes the world would be slightly better in the future than it is now. 5 years pass during his slumber, and when he opens his eyes, a girl welcomes him with confetti. She tells him that she's going to be his attendant, and that he's going to relive his high school years and have fun. In the changing room, the girls get excited hearing the guy is finally going to be here. Doji's attendant welcomes him into his room and begins helping him unpack, telling him to just relax. He sits down, asking her if the UW is what's running the world. Doji thinks that he must be valuable if most of the men in the world are dead. Karen finally introduces herself and tells him that she's going to be in his class. Doji doesn't know whether he's 18 or 23, but Karen interrupts him and says that his father is fine. Doji also asks about his sister, but she tells him that they can't get in contact with people from America because of the world's mess. She tells him that he's going to be only in this dorm and school because it's dangerous to expose him to the virus. Doji walks into his first day of school with his head down, and Karen encourages him to introduce himself. But no matter what they tell him, all of this seems a bit too suspicious, and he feels like he's dreaming that most men are dead. Not a single person is around that he used to know, but maybe it's natural since it's been 5 years. At the very least, he will no longer have to deal with them. A girl sits next to him, smiles at him, and Karen asks him to come after school with her. As he walks through the hallway, he wonders what this surprise could be, and he sees his piano teacher after 5 years. She hugs him, telling him she's glad he's gotten better and that she knew he was strong. Karen asks him if she's going to give him a reward for his hard work, and she tells him she's prepared a very special present for him. She holds his hand, asking him if he's free tonight because she wants to talk about a lot. During gym, he thinks about what her words could have meant, and thinks it's plot related, but knows he's too much of an ugly loser for that to happen. Karen asks him why he creamed his pants. Karen asks him why he's sitting alone. Doi has never liked Jim, and she asks him if he likes any girls. One by one she tells him all about the girls, saying things like Hiraga's plot looks good. She then points to Ikiju, and tells him that her family is loaded and so is her plot. Finally, she points him to Taodu, and tells him that she has the biggest plot of all. He wonders what could have happened to his bullies, but that he's glad the MK virus got to them. Karen promises to become his backbone, but he should get to know them a lot better. At night, Doi knocks on the door and the teacher welcomes him in. She apologizes for how she's dressed because she was showering. She thanks him for coming and begins talking, but our man only focuses on the plot instead of her words. She asks him how he feels about her and asks if she's older now. He tells her she's not, and she tells him she was glad when she saw him. She dims the lights and looks at him, telling him that this is his reward for beating the disease, and that he can stop her if she wants. She gets on top of him and removes plot armor. He thinks that if this is a dream, he doesn't want to wake up. They go on to develop plot. Watch this next video. Till next time, my fellow legendary plot masters.